Today we shall be discussing about the connective tissue. The connective tissue is a tissue. It is one of the basic tissues which connects or binds other tissues of the body. So actually connective tissue not only connects, but it also protects and supports all other tissues in the body. Now this type of the tissue is one of the most abundant. It is widespread and it has a lot of variations. So obviously it also performs a wide variety of functions. So the functions of the connective tissue are as follows. Number one is support. It provides structural and mechanical support to the body by binding the cells and organs together. Next, it will act as a packing material. The loose areolar connective tissue, it helps to fill the space between the cells and thus gives shape to the organs. Next is storage, like the adipose tissue, which acts as a storehouse of energy. Then it will also help in transport. The matrix will act as a medium through which the nutrients and wastes are exchanged between the cells and the blood. It also helps in repair, such as in wound healing, and also in defense mechanism. It helps in to protect the body by means of phagocytosis of the foreign body or by producing antibodies against the antigens. So what is the composition of the connective tissue? It consists of two things. One is the cells, the other is the intercellular substance or the matrix. The matrix consists of two components. One is the ground substance, the other is the fibers. So if we, this is just a schematic picture of showing the connective tissue. We can, these small dot-like magnets, these are representing the cells. These are the these thread-like structures, these are the fibers. These fibers are present in bundles. These are singly present. And this black color the background is the ground substance. So we have the connective tissue consists of cells, we have fibers, and we have a ground substance. Now first we're going to discuss about the matrix or the intercellular substance. Now this matrix or intercellular substance, it is a non-living material. It is synthesized by the connective tissue cells, particularly by the fibroblasts. And this ground substance and this intercellular substance consists of two elements. One is the ground substance and the other is the fibrous element. So this ground substance, it is transparent, homogeneous, viscous, semi-fluid. So you can think of it, it's just like a aloe vera gel, sort of jelly-like. And it fills up the space between the cells and the fibers. Now it is this ground substance is basically it consists of polymers of carbohydrates conjugated with proteins. So we have two things. One is the proteoglycans, the other is the structural glycoproteins. The fibrous element, on the other hand, consists of proteins. And these proteins are organized to form fibers, which provide strength to the connective tissue. The fibers are of three kinds. We have the collagen fiber, the elastic fiber, and the reticular fiber. Come to the ground substance. So we have two types of ground substance. One is the proteoglycans, the other is the structural glycoproteins. Now this proteoglycans consist of a vertical core of protein to which the carbohydrate moieties are attached. So it gives a sort of bottle brush appearance to this proteoglycans. And the next is the structural glycoprotein. It consists of globular cores of protein to which the carbohydrate moiety is attached. Let us now discuss about the ground substance. First is the proteoglycans. Now the carbohydrate component of the proteoglycans is formed by the glycosaminoglycan. The molecules of GAG, it is attached to the core protein and it it appears like the bristle of a brush and it gives a bottle brush appearance. Now this is responsible for the physical properties of the ground substance. So we have the different types of GAG molecules are the hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfate, dermatan sulfate, keratin sulfate, and the heparan sulfate. So hyaluronic acid, it keeps the ground substance in salts form, that is in almost a liquidy state. The different types are, it is present in the cartilage, vitreous body, umbilical cord, etc. The chondroitin sulfate, on the other hand, keeps the ground substance in gel form, or jelly-like consistency in the cartilage, bone, skin, cornea. Dermatan sulfate in the skin, keratin sulfate in the cornea, and the heparin sulfate in the liver. Next is the structural glycoprotein. Now, the structural glycoprotein, it acts like Fevicol. These are specific adhesive proteins which helps to bind the cells to the collagen fibers. So, the different types are laminin, fibronectin, the chondronectin, and the osteonectin. Now, come to the different fibers. The different fibers which are present in the connective tissue are the collagen fiber, the reticular fiber, and the elastic fiber. First, we're going to learn about the collagen fiber. Now, the collagen fiber, it is the most common type. It consists of thick, wavy bundles arranged almost parallelly, and it is unbranched. On HE staining, it takes pink stain. The collagen fibers are present in the skin, hair, nail, cartilage, bone, etc. Let us learn about the synthesis of the collagen fibers in very brief. Now, the biosynthesis of the collagen fiber, it occurs in the fibroblast cells from the amino acids, that is the glycine, proline, and lysine, which occurs in the rough surfaced endoplasmic reticulum, and it forms long polypeptide chains. These are the pro-alpha chains, and it is these pro-alpha chains, they possess extension extra peptides, polypeptides at both the ends, which is known as the extension peptides. Now, the proline and the lysine residues of the chains, they undergo hydroxylation to form procollagen with the help of vitamin C. It is known as vitamin C dependent hydroxylation. Now, the three procollagen chains, they will be assembled to form a triple helix molecule. And this procollagen molecule will now be transferred to the exterior with the help of the Golgi apparatus. Now, the extension peptides are removed and the tropocollagen molecule is formed. Now, this will undergo polymerization and will form the collagen fibers. Now, the types of collagen fibers, we have type 1, which is present in the skin, bone, tendons, ligaments. Type 2 in the hyaline and the elastic cartilage. We have type 3, which is found in the lymph node, spleen, bone marrow, which forms the main extracellular matrix and helps in the support of the cells of these organs. And type 4 is found in the basement membrane. Now, the elastic fiber, these are thin, small branching fibers, and these fibers are capable of recoil. They can be stretched and they return to their original length. It is composed of elastin protein and is present in the organs such as the lungs, the bladder, skin, walls of the large vessels like the aorta and the pulmonary trunk. The reticular fibers, it consists of type 3 collagen fibers. They form a delicate network like a supporting framework for organs such as the liver, spleen, and the lymph nodes, and they take silver stain. Let us now differentiate between the three types of fibers: the collagen fibers, elastic fibers, and the reticular fibers. The collagen fibers, they form thick, wavy bundles, and the fibers do not branch. It is composed of collagen protein and is present in the dermis of the skin, tendon, in the basement membrane, etc., and it provides strength. The elastic fibers, on the other hand, are thin, straight, and are composed of the elastin protein. It is present in the skin, lung, blood vessels, etc., and it provides elasticity. The reticular fibers, they form networks and forms the structural framework of organs like the lymph nodes, spleen, bone marrow, etc. Now come to the cells of the connective tissue. These are the different types of cells which we will be discussing in brief. There are two types of cells in the connective tissue. One is the fixed cell, the other is the wandering cells. Now, the fixed cells are those cells which originate and reside in the connective tissue. These are the fibroblasts and the adipose cells. The wandering cells are those which originate in the bone marrow and then they migrate into the connective tissue. And all these cells are derived from the embryonic mesenchymal cells. So we have fixed cells, wandering cells. The fixed cells are the fibroblasts, which secrete and maintain the components of the matrix. The adipose tissue, which stores energy and helps in insulation. The wandering cells are the plasma cells, macrophages, mast cells, neutrophil, eosinophil, basophil, lymphocytes, and the monocytes, which help in defense and immunity of the body. First is the fibroblasts. Now, the fibroblasts are the most important and the dominant cells of the connective tissue. They synthesize the fibers, that is the collagen, reticular, and the elastic fibers, as well as the ground substance. It is derived from the undifferentiated mesenchymal cells. And what is the shape? They are fusiform in shape with numerous processes. They will act as stem cells for the other cellular components of the connective tissue. The undifferentiated mesenchymal cells, they are star-shaped with delicate cytoplasmic processes, and these are pluripotent cells, that is, they are able to differentiate into newer other cell types. Next is the macrophages. The macrophages, they are irregular in shape, and the cytoplasm is filled with hydrolytic enzymes. They play a very important role in the defense mechanism of the body. They will phagocytose the bacteria and antigens, and they can either kill it or it can modify the antigens, and it will then transfer it to the T or the B lymphocytes for further action. Now, the macrophages are present in different tissues of the body. In the connective tissue, it is known as the histiocytes. In the blood, as monocytes. In the liver, as the Kupffer cells. In the lymphoid tissue and the lymph nodes, it is known as the reticular cells. In the lung, as the alveolar macrophage. And in the brain and the spinal cord, as the microglia. Next is the plasma cells. Now, the plasma cells play a very important role in the defense mechanism of the body, and it is present in the mucus and the submucous coat of the gut. The cytoplasm, it stains blue, and the nucleus is very important. It has a cartwheel appearance, and the plasma cells, they secrete antibodies to counter the action of antigens. Next is the mast cells. The mast cells are present in the alimentary and the respiratory tract, and it is filled with the histamine and the heparin granules. So it plays a very important role in inflammatory reaction, allergies, and hypersensitivity. The pigment cells, these are the melanocytes and derived from the neural crest cells, and is found in the epidermis of the skin, in the iris, and the choroid coat of the eyeball. These are the reticular cells, which help in phagocytosis. Next is the fat cells, that is the adipocytes, which is found in the adipose tissue. We can see the cell is spherical. The nucleus has been pushed to one side because of the large globule of fat in the center. So, and on HE stain, it gives a signet ring appearance. Next, we have to discuss about the types of connective tissue. Now, the connective tissue can be classified into two types. One is the connective tissue proper, the other is the special connective tissue because of the specialized function it performs. The special connective tissue consists of the cartilage, bone, blood, adipose tissue. The connective tissue proper, on the other hand, consists of the loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue. Dense connective tissue is further classified as regular and the irregular variety. In this topic, we will be discussing about the connective tissue proper. Now, this connective tissue is classified based on the composition of its cellular and the extracellular components. So, connective tissue proper is where the fibrous component is predominant, and the special connective tissue which is designed for special functions. So the first is the loose connective tissue. The loose connective tissue is also known as the loose areolar tissue. Here the ground substance is more than the fibers, is more than the cells. That is, this over here, there is abundant ground substance, but this ground substance, it gets washed off during tissue preparation, and it gives a empty appearance. It is present in the superficial fascia, lamina propria, and in the space surrounding the vessels and the viscera, and it allows its expansion. It also helps to support the overlying epithelium. Next is the dense connective tissue, which is of two types. One is the regular and the irregular dense type. Here the fiber content is more than the ground substance and the cells. In regular dense connective tissue, the collagen fibers are arranged in a regular pattern, in parallelly placed. In irregular dense connective tissue, there is a haphazard arrangement of the collagen fibers. Regular dense connective tissue is found in tendons and ligaments. Here the collagen fibers are aligned uniformly, and this uniform alignment, it helps to transfer the mechanical force from the muscles to the bones. Irregular dense connective tissue, it is here the collagen fibers are arranged irregularly. It is present in the dermis of the skin, and here it provides resistance to mechanical stress from all directions. That is, the skin is able to withstand the stress or the mechanical force from all directions. Next is the adipose tissue. It is a special type of connective tissue. It is formed by the aggregation of the fat cells or the adipocytes. And here, the adipose tissue, it is going to function as a reservoir of energy. It gives shape to the body, acts as a shock absorber, and it also gives thermal insulation to the body, as it is a bad conductor of heat. You can see the empty appearance of the cells, and the cells have a signet ring appearance because the nucleus is pushed to one side. These are the nuclei of the cells. Now, adipose tissue is of two varieties. One is the yellow adipose tissue, which is the adult variety, and the other is the brown adipose tissue, which is seen in the newborns. Now, the brown adipose tissue, as you can see, it consists of multiple lipid droplets. So it is multilocular. And in case of adult type, that is the yellow or the white adipose tissue, it consists of a single lobule of fat. So it is unilocular. So what is the difference between the yellow and the brown adipose tissue? Yellow adipose tissue, or the adult variety, it is unilocular. Here in brown adipose tissue, it is multilocular. And the location, the yellow adipose tissue is found in the superficial fascia, etc. The brown adipose tissue will be found in newborns. Yellow adipose tissue, it helps in insulation and protection. And brown adipose tissue, it helps in production of heat or thermogenesis. Now, the embryonic connective tissue, also known as the mucous connective tissue, it is present in the umbilical cord, and here the ground substance is known as the Wharton's jelly, which helps to support or protect the umbilical vessels, that is the two umbilical arteries and one umbilical vein. These are the umbilical arteries, this is the umbilical vein, and this is the ground tissue, that is the Wharton's jelly. And this jelly-like Wharton's jelly, it consists mostly of hyaluronic acid, and during tissue preparation, it gets removed. Hence, we can see the spindle-shaped mesenchymal cells are visible in the slide. Now, let's discuss about the connective tissue disorders. Now, type 1 collagen deficiency. Now, this type 1 collagen is the most common type of collagen which is found in the body, in the bones, ligaments, tendons, etc. If there is deficiency of type 1 collagen, it will result to one condition which is known as osteogenesis imperfecta or brittle bone disease. Here, the bones undergo multiple fractures and it is associated with other abnormalities. Then type 3 collagen deficiency. Type 3 collagen consists of reticular fibers which are present in the skin, blood vessels, etc. If there is deficiency of this fiber, it is known as condition is known as the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It is an autosomal dominant disorder. Here the individuals have loose skin and they have hypermobile joints and also vascular fragility. Next is Marfan syndrome. It is due to the abnormal development of the elastic fibers. It is also an autosomal dominant disorder. There is defect in the synthesis of the fibrillin protein. And individuals with this disorder, they have long limbs, long arms, legs, and they have hypermobile joints, and there is also dislocation of the lens. Next is the scurvy. Here we have already learned that during the biosynthesis of the collagen fibers, vitamin C is very important because it helps in the hydroxylation of the proline and lysine residues. So if there is vitamin C deficiency, there will be defective collagen synthesis, and hence it will lead to a multitude of problems such as defect in wound healing. Also, there will be bleeding gums, petechiae, there will be easy bruising, etc. So vitamin C is very important in our diet. With this, we conclude discussion on the connective tissue. Thank you for joining.